Hello and welcome everyone. So now, after completing the two sections which are the draggable and the droppables, we are moving on to our third section. So the third section comprises of the resizable functionality. So now friends, I am very much sure that you are familiar with the resizable functionality, the zooming part and many more things. So now, in this section, we are going to learn the different actions and operations that are to be performed on the resizable functionality used in jQuery UI. So a little introduction to the resizable. So jQuery UI resizable method is used to resize any DOM element. It simplifies the method of resizing of elements and reduces time and a lot of coding. This method can be used in two forms. So the syntaxes are as follows: $selector comma contest dot resizable comma options. So here in the bracket the options are there. In the same way, $selector comma context dot resizable actions comma parameters. So the methods are the same, only the difference is of resizable. Now starting with the first method, the resizable option method specifies that you can resize any HTML element. Here the parameter is an object that specifies the behavior of the elements involved when resizing. So here is the syntax: $selector comma context dot resizable, which we have learned in the last PPT. Now for more options we can include $selector comma context dot resizable option 1, putting a colon in between value 1, comma option 2, putting a colon and value 2. In this way we can use n number of values with n options. Now here are the list of some options which we are going to implement in our programs for resizable. So animate. If you set this option to true, it enables a visual effect during resizing. When the mouse button is released, the default value is false. Here false means that it will have no effects. So animate is an option which can be used in the resizable and which we are going to use in our further coming programs. Now here is the second option, ghost. So if you set this option to true, a semi-transparent helper element is shown for resizing. So as per the name suggests, a ghost is a shadow. So the semi-transparent helper element for resizing, this ghost item will be deleted when the mouse is released. By default its value is false. Now delay. This option is used to set tolerance or delay in milliseconds. After that resizing or displacement will begin. By default its value is 0. So many times we have observed that after clicking to some extent we want our element to be resized. So in this way we can use the delay option. Now the distance. This option specifies that the resizing will start only when the mouse moves a distance which is in pixels. By default its value is 1. So after dragging to 1 pixel the element start resizing. This can help prevent unintended resizing when clicking on an element, which means the element will be resized in the way you want. Auto hide, which means the automatic hiding option. So this option is used to hide the magnification icon or handles except when the mouse is over the item. By default its value is false. Many times you have observed that whenever you click any of the corners of element, it makes a sign of arrow, which means that the element can be resized. To avoid this we can use the auto hide method. So now let's use the resizable functionality in jQuery UI by passing no parameter to it. So means this is the basic program of jQuery UI resizable method. So we are moving on to a Dreamweaver software to perform this using our program. So now friends, here we are again on our same platform on which we have performed 10 plus functions and operations. So now we can provide a title here which means basic resizable program. This is the title, you can use any of this. Now in the body part we are going to use some classes and IDs. So div and ID again. Now friends, in this program I will show you the concept of IDs and class very clearly, that how we can use the IDs and class, since it is a concept of CSS, but I will make you clear in this course. So here the ID I am using resizable, let's say, and the class as usual we use UI, widget and content in this way, and I am closing this here. So Now again we are creating a ID, but we are using h3 or we can say h2. Now h2 is a heading tag. There are total 6 headings, which is h1, h2, h3, h4, h5 and h6. These are all the heading attributes of HTML. If you are well known to HTML, then you can easily understand, and if not, then I will make you understand in this lecture. So now we can also include a class in this. So we are using a class UI widget and header, which means in this part we are including some text. So let's take a text here. We can also use in this way, or we can just write the text here. So I am telling you two ways, like please drag me to my edges and I will get resized. This is the one way in which we can write in HTML. And if you want to see the another way, which is the same as we are using the span, so we can do in this way, like span, and we can use, so please drag me and I will get resized, in this way. So we are closing span here and we will close h2 here. In this way we can write. So now we have completed about all the HTML part which we have to use for this program. So I am just reducing all the spaces which are extra, and now we are moving on to the style part. Now here you have to look very carefully, because I am telling you some new concept here, that how to use the styles for CSS in the class and ID form. So see, firstly I am making the use of UI widget header. Let's say I am making the use of UI widget header, which means I am using a class. So I have to put a dot here. So UI widget and header. So I am taking width as 150 pixel, but we can take 50 pixels for making it more convenient, because 150 will be more. Now we can use font size. We can use the font family as anyone you like, and we can use the font size as 24 pixels. We can use the font weight. We can use the font weight as 200, and we can use border. So border will be solid 1 pixel, and black. So to use a black border we have to do in this way. So now this is all about the widget header part. Now in the same way we can use the second class. Since there is id2, we can use the id as resizable, and we can use a class. So we can use the class or id both. So in this way I am using dot UI widget and content, in this way. Now again I am taking width 90 pixel, and here I am taking the background I can take color, and the background color will be a light one, so I can use this one. I can also take background in this one, it will look good. So background, and I can take a dark color here, which means this, or let's say a light one here too. So we can use this one, light yellow. Now in this way we can use a border to make it more amazing. Border will be solid 1 pixel, or say 2 pixels, and the color will be this one. So that much sufficient for the CSS part. Now we can also use hash resizable. So if we are using hash resizable, then we have to remove the width from here, because the resizable part will adjust its width and height itself. So we have to input it here and we have to remove it from here. So in this way we have to remove this, and the resizable part we can include width, which is this is the part which is to be resized. So width we can take 100 pixel, height we can again take 100 pixel, and we can take the padding, so 0.5 em, which is the default. Now putting a semicolon and closing this. So now we are done with all the CSS part. So now reducing all the spaces between them to make the understandability very simple. Now we are taking the script part. So since we are passing no parameter to it, this program will be very easy for the JavaScript part. In this way, now we are using the function, as I have told you that we have to do it in all steps. So function, and we are opening this brace. So now we are applying the resizable functionality. So again a dollar sign, and we are applying using ID. So if we are using ID, then we have to put a hash here. So hash resizable, you can also use class here, no matter, dot resizable, and since we are passing no parameter to it, so it will go just like, and in this way we can use this functionality, putting a semicolon at the end, reducing all the spaces and saving it and going for the output. So now friends, here you can observe that the width is very much, so we can make the changes. So here I have changed the size to 10 pixels, the font size to 10 pixels, and I have removed the font weight. So now I am saving it again and going for the output. So now you can observe this, a sign here for resizable. So when I click on it and just drag it, it starts resizing. You can observe here. If you want to resize it from here, you can also click on this down. If you want to do this resizing, you can also take it. You can also do this. You can do anything which you want to resize. You can do this like diagonally resizing. You can do anything, any part of resizing here. So friends, I am sure that you understood the resizable functionality by passing no parameters to it, and you enjoyed learning the resizable functionality and the concept of how we can use the widget header, widget content, classes and the IDs together. So friends, we will soon meet in our next lecture with some new concept. Thank you for watching this lecture.